Okay, we are at case 3 now where our constant term is a negative. So with our constant term being negative, it makes things a little bit challenging. So first, I call this case 3a, where you have a constant term that is negative, but you also have a negative x term. So same thing, I'm going to draw a multiplication frame. I'm going to write x squared here. I'm going to write negative x, and obviously x times x gives you x squared, right? So x times x gives no qualms. So in this case, how do I know whether is it positive or negative? Because in this case, x squared, it can be negative, right? But of course, we're going to assume the positive here first to make things easier for ourselves. Next, we have negative 6. Now, to have negative 6 means you need a negative factor and a positive factor. And with that being said, so you need to consider two different kind of cases, a negative factor and a positive factor, right? Sounds like terrible, right? So let's consider negative 2 and positive 3. This gives us, you multiply them, and that gives us negative 6. Now from here, let's try negative 2x. And in this case, this will be positive 3x. So you try to add that up, you have negative 2x plus 3x, and you're like, oh, that gives me x, and that does not give me negative 5x. So this is where we need to kind of like try and think differently. Consider other factors over here. In this case, maybe I'll consider if I want to get a negative 5, I want to be able to have a negative 6, and I have a positive 1. So from here, I essentially would have a positive x and a negative 6x over here. So from here, if you look carefully, that positive x plus a negative 6x gives me a negative 5x, which is what we want over here. So from here, the answer is as simple as x plus 1 times x minus 6. Now, what happens if it's positive over here? Okay, if it's positive over here, we do almost the same thing, right? Okay, we consider the multiplication frame, and we want x squared, and we want a negative 6 here again. From here, x times x gives me x squared, and now I would like a positive 5x. And if you can see what I'm trying to do here, I'm looking at the terms to decide. I want a positive 5, right? So I need like a 6 minus 1. So I have a positive 6 and a negative 1 that gives me a multiplication of negative 6. So you can actually kind of like look at the factors of the constant term to actually determine what you actually need. And in this case, this will be negative x and positive 6x. And there we go. That gives me positive 5x. And so my factor would be x minus 1 times x plus 6. So two different ways of doing this.